Right, who wants to start Raw ups and downs off as negative Nancy's? I don't. Sometimes we have to. Because Jey Uso did come out to kick off the big opening Raw promo. I don't think we need to do his entrance twice every single time. Like, I understand it's great for the live crowd, and sometimes you should play to them before you play to anybody else. But there is technically, well, not even technically, there is more people watching at home. This was the first time I was like, it's been like 12 minutes and nothing has happened on Raw. Because we had a video package before this too. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just being an old grumpy man who is yelling at a cloud. But sometimes when I sit down with my pro wrestling, I just want us to get on with it. Also, hello, my friends. What are ups and downs? The only wrestling review show you need with me, Simon Miller, the bald idiot. And that's right. Once again, thank you very much to NordVPN, who are doing a deal right now down there in the description, nordvpn.com/WhatCulture. Not only will you be able to watch your wrestling when you do go abroad using their fancy services, but yes, if you do take advantage of this deal today, not only are you basically paying less than $3 a month, but you're going to get 4 months free, and there's a money bank guarantee. So if you're like, oh, I do not like using NordVPN, well, you get your money back. But I can tell you will love it, because everybody loves it. Right, now everybody, let's get ready, because it's time to review Monday Night Raw. Now, eventually, Jey Uso did start talking on the microphone, and he was like, listen, I'm not listening to my brother Jimmy anymore. I'm not listening to Roman Reigns. I am not even going to listen to my mama or their mama or somebody's mama. I was getting a bit worried, because if he had been allowed to continue on this, eventually he would have said, I'm not even going to listen to the fire department, and then what are you going to do, Jay? You're going to be on fire. You know you meant to ring 911 or 999 here in the UK, and you're going to die because you didn't ring, because you didn't want to listen. Punk interrupted, and I thought, oh, it's okay. He'll tell him about this and stop being a silly Billy. But actually, was like, well, this is great noise. You shouldn't listen to Jimmy, and you shouldn't listen to Little Roman, which for some reason is a horrible insult. It's like, dude, now you agree. You don't want him to listen to people either? I tell you, I'm done. Somebody's going to be set ablaze. And the whole idea is that actually CM Punk likes Jey Uso, and he even referenced the fact you threw your brother over the top rope last week in that battle royal, and I think that was a good thing to do. This is when the fans went boo, boo, because we're preconditioned to do such things, and Punk was like, no, you absolute goobers. He did it in a nice way. That's the whole point of the match. It just goes to show. Come this Saturday night at SNME, it is me versus Jey, and I've got to put my best foot forward. His whole point, though, was how far are you willing to go, Jey? Because I need this title more than I need the air that I breathe. I've said this before. My hand went up again. I was like, listen, CM Punk, I understand what you're getting at here, but if you actually did pick the championship over oxygen, you would die. A lot of death references so far in this episode. So then even you would be laying on the floor with the belt next to you, you wouldn't be able to appreciate it because you were dead. And also it is pro wrestling. They just have a tournament and somebody will be champion anyway. Punk then said there's no way Jey Uso can yeet his way out of this situation. It's like, that's a very strange sentence when you do come to think about it. And this is when Jey took the microphone and he had a bit of attitude to him. Dare I say Edge, not Adam Copeland, because he went to AEW. He was like, don't you try and make me out to be the bad guy, Mr. CM Punk. I told you I ain't listening to anybody anymore, so I'm going to that thing. I'm going to become a double champion, and there ain't nothing you or anybody else can do about it, because I am the best in the world. And then I think he did say yeet, which kind of proves CM Punk's point. So I do understand the argument, maybe we could have done a little bit more here, but as WWE are scrambling, given that Seth Rollins did get injured and that wasn't in the plans, I actually thought that was quite decent. I thought Jey Uso came across as, oh, you're interesting, Jey. What's going on here? And I can't pick it. Like, I presume that CM Punk is going to win, but you could give it to Jey Uso and that would be fine. Although actually, after the events of Raw, I think we're going to get shenanigans and we ain't going to have a proper new world champion after Saturday night's main event. And is that going to annoy me? Yes, it is. You know what I'm going to do? Nothing, because it's just wrestling and it doesn't matter. But I am going to give it an up. Like, there could have been a bit more sauce on the steak, but there was something intriguing about it. And actually, apart from the double entrance, it didn't go that long. Dominic was then sad because, of course, Penta and Rusev are going to be coming after his Intercontinental Title Championship, depending on who does win their number one contender match. Well, he turned to Finn Balor and JD McDonagh. He said, please, will you help me? And they said, no, we're not going to help you. Do you know why we're not the tag team champions right now? It's you absolute condom. Roxanne, as always, was happy to assist, but Raquel Rodriguez was like, no, you have a match with Nikki Bella later. She didn't say it like that, although it is Halloween. And for all I know, maybe she thinks Nikki Bella's a ghost. So essentially now the Judgment Day has become a group, but they only worry about their own things, which is based like every major corporation in 2025. I do think we have to pull the trigger on this eventually. Maybe it's just gone a little bit too long, but it does feel like we're getting there. And listen, we do set up a lot for next week, so maybe it's all coming to a head. It was right into this Penta versus Rusev #1 contender match as well. And we put a 1 on the dick board. And actually, WWE went crazy with dicks on this show, which is not a sentence you want to say. There was too much distraction, interference, confusion for this bald man's taste, but we'll get to it. It actually all did tie in, because at the end of that Judgment Day segment, Dominic Mysterio had gone, fine. If you're not going to help me, I'll call someone first, because I am a nerd. I thought this was going to be some kind of long-term storytelling, because Liv Morgan will be back sooner or later. Like, even if it was months down the line, you can start teasing it. And when she comes back, she's going to be a babyface. And Dom is absolutely going to be a babyface soon. But nope, he wrong El Grande Americano and friends, because towards the end of this, they just ran out. They beat up Penta and Rusev. Now, I understand why WWE has to do that, because wrestling is predetermined. But I was like, if you were in the building, why did it take you 10 minutes to get to the ring? And if you weren't in the building and Dominic called you and that's when you left for the show, how the hell did you get there so fast? It was well timed in the sense that Rusev and Penta were hitting all of their 1-2-ooh moves to make you go, oh, I don't know who's going to win. Like Rusev kicked out the Penta driver, but then yes, El Grande Americano 1, El Grande Americano 2, and El Grande Americano 3 just thrust the ring. The ref was like, I'm right here, you goobers. I'm calling it a no contest. Also, make sure you put 1 on the dive counter, because Penta was doing that as well. And yes, later on, Adam Pearce found Dominic Mysterio and said, your plan sucked. It's now going to be a triple threat match at the pay-per-view, or Saturday Night's Main Event, whatever the flub you want to call it. I still kind of feel like Dominic should win. I don't think it's the time to take the title off him, unless bigger things are coming down the line. But look, I'm going to give the match an up. And given that I am going to address the distractions later, I will pause it for there. But it was a lot of fun, and this Penta man just gets great reactions. And given the state of the main event scene, I wouldn't mind him being thrown up right in there. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't work, he can come tumbling back down. But yeah, it was fun. And Dominic Mysterio has this weird baby face, but kind of pitched as a heel. Well, he is a glorious treat. What? LA Knight was then backstage, and he told us he wants the winner of CM Punk versus Jey Uso for that World Championship. And I was like, what the flub have you actually done to deserve that, LA Knight? Like, I would love you to become a world champion, but in kayfabe terms, well, you probably need to get some wins. Here's a small spoiler for you. Does he get a win on Raw? No, he does not. We then cut to Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman, and Bron was like, oh, hi, Paul. Why the flub didn't we just enter that Battle Royal last week and run through the field? And Paul Heyman answered this with maths. So I was surprised that Bron Breakker didn't fall asleep, because nobody wants the answer to be mathematics and numbers. But he was like, 1 is better than 20. And we just found out that LA Knight wants to be the world champion. So Bron Breakker, if you go whip his ass, then you'll probably move up the contenderships when it comes to getting that world championship. And I guess Paul Heyman is booking the show now, because now later on we are going to get Bron Breakker versus LA Knight. We then got this awesome Oscar's been in WWE for 10-year video, and listen, regardless of the reason that WWE may have made this, I am giving it an up. I mean, all they really needed to do was go, here's a list of her accomplishments, here are all her amazing matches. If you don't like her, you're probably totally insane. She really is one of the best of the modern generation. I mean, what hasn't she done? And yeah, that was just a wonderful reminder of it. I mean, a bit weird to do that for a heel, unless Oscar had done this in her spare time, but as we just touched on, she can do absolutely everything. JD and Finn Balor then did go to Adam Pearce, and they just said, can we please have a tag team title shot? I guess Adam Pearce's hearing isn't very good. He said, nope, you are going to take on Sheamus instead. Now, Finn Balor wanted none of this, but JD was like, well, I'll take him on, and we will get to that in just a second. Because before that, we did get Nikki Bella versus Roxanne Perez based on what happened last week with Stephanie Vaquer. And to start off, Roxanne was pretending that she, respected Nikki Bella, which she didn't. So Nikki Bella slapped Roxanne Perez around the face so damn hard. And then some of these other shots, I mean, maybe Roxy's just a good seller, but in her face, it looked a bit like, why don't you like me, Nikki? Stop punching me in the face. It's also back to the DIC board, like I say, because of course Raquel Rodriguez was getting involved. This is kind of a situation WWE finds itself in. It continues to book itself in the same situation. Like, everybody has somebody that is going to do this, or could do this, and therefore in every single match we do have, somebody does it. Just think, sometimes we could come up with more creative plans. Of course, Roxanne was then able to take advantage, and she went after Nikki Bella's neck, which is one of the reasons Bella had to retire years ago. And after Raquel had distracted once again, these two got into the most devastating move. In all of sports entertainment, a surprise roll-up battle, and there was this really good moment when Roxy put her feet on the ropes and the referee caught her, and that kind of tricked you, so Nikki Bella then used a roll-up, but that didn't work. when ultimately Roxanne Perez used her in-ring positioning and of course the help of Raquel Rodriguez from earlier. She hit the pop rocks and she got the 1, 2, 3. And yet even with all this interference, I thought the commentators sold it as a big deal. And also, I didn't think Nikki Bella was going to lose. Of course, the Judgment Day beat up Nikki after this swells. How came Stephanie McMahon to make the save? This made me laugh out loud because I am a geek. Because we sold Raquel Rodriguez as a monster, as we should do. So Stephanie was like, oh man, you're not scared of me, but I'm not scared of you. When from the ashes, Nikki Bella just stood up and got in her face as well. It's like when you have a bully and you have the weakling behind the bully kind of sticking his face out, yeah man, I'll fight you as well. But if Nikki Bella does go heel, which was the tease 7 days ago, I guess this would make sense because she's trying to steal Stephanie's spotlight. So I am going to give it an up. I guess nothing to write home about, but I thought it was a very fun, entertaining match. The Kabuki Warriors then continued to win the evening because Lyra Valkyria was getting ready for her tag team match when all of a sudden in walked Asuka and Kairi saying, they were like, look, we know that Bayley made this on social media in the week, but it should be us getting the championships, and we most definitely don't like you. Lyra Valkyria's facial expressions or reactions are some of the best things you'll ever see in your life. They make me laugh out loud. Here, I think she thought Asuka was a zombie. Poor Kairi as well was melting down and saying, please don't make Asuka mad, when Asuka just shouted at her. When Bayley walked in, and this also got me as well, because Bayley was so amped because, of course, she had become the general manager and got these 2 a title shot in the main event. But Lyra was so worried about not winning because she had no confidence. All of a sudden, Bayley had no confidence. But then Lyra went crazy and she G'd up Bayley, and Bayley was like, that's right, we're going to win. I was like, this is a bad relationship. You two should not hang out. You do not help each other at all. It also heavily teased that Jimmy Uso may screw his brother at the weekend because they met up with each other backstage. And Jim was like, you didn't do the plan last week, you absolute moron. We were meant to bring it down so it was just you versus me, and then we were going to see who was going to win. It's like, that's not what you said, Jimbo. You were like every man for himself. So you got no one to blame but you. I guess you could kind of call this heel speak as well, because Jimbo even said maybe you were just worried what happened if we were to fight one-on-one again. I was like, Jim, he beat you last time. I think you've gone a little bit off the rails. It was then time for LA Knight to lose again, so who had 9 p.m.? Who had 9 p.m. on your card? Make sure you come up and accept your winnings. But listen, he was taking on Bron Breakker, and Bron Breakker should not lose for a long old time. In fact, before he does get defeated again, he should also probably become the world champion. I did think this match was great. And really, if you are looking at it from a management point of view, surely each and every single week you look at LA Knight and go, man, this guy has got the goods. I believe it's going to happen to him. We may just have to be patient. I think LA may know this as well because he even found a sign in the crowd that said, we want LA Knight, and not Jey Uso. And he was just like, haha, look at this. While he did have the one-upmanship on Bron Breakker for a while, Bron Breakker then became Sonic. And he was moving so damn fast, it was ridiculous. And he did a dive, so I won the dive counter. But here comes my first down, my second down, whatever the flub. It is a down because, yes, put on one of the dick board. Bronson Reed was out there and he was interfering. This was 3-3, man. It's too much for me. I'm still the same OG. I'm giving it a down. I just think we can come up with some new ideas. Again, you can do whatever the hell you want in wrestling. At one point, Bron Breakker went for this Frankensteiner, and LA Knight went to stop him, and I don't know what happened there, but Bron Breakker fell in a heap. Apparently he's perfectly fine, but my gosh, it was scary. Reed, of course, was then distracting over and over again, but eventually LA Knight did get one over on him when he was going to hit his elbow. But I just thought this was fantastic. Bron Breakker moved, so LA Knight rolled out the way. When he turned around, Bron just hit him with this spear that was like a torpedo. And I was like, man, if he kicks out of that, once again, I'm not going to do anything, because what would I do? But he did get the 1, 2, 3. Sometimes, even if you are LA Knight, you have to lose after things like that. Otherwise, we're taking the idea of wrestling and we're sending it to the moon. Which actually may be quite fun. Now, as always, if we do have something lined up for LA Knight after this, it will all be fine, because wrestling is just about stories. But yeah, given their proximity to Jey Uso and CM Punk, and the promo at the start of the show, I think you will see LA Knight, I think you will see Bronson Reed, I think you will see Bron Breakker, I think you will see Paul Heyman, and I think you'll see all the Usos get involved in that thing. Somebody is going to turn heel, I would presume. It also does kind of feel like we do have to do Jey Uso versus LA Knight, but you could also do CM Punk versus LA Knight for the world title. I don't know. If I was going to hazard a guess or take a bold prediction, maybe we do get here next week and there is no world champion, which will suck. I would much rather WWE made a call, and whoever wins, even if, I don't know, a snail wins. All right, crown the snail, but I'm going to give this match an up. It was good fun. Let's try and do less interferences and distractions. It also turned out after this that the Usos were still arguing. It was like, guys, why don't you talk in the week? Because Jey Uso went to find Jimmy Uso, and this time Jey was a bit like, listen, I understand where you're coming from, but you're my brother and I love you. Jey also did remind his brother, that's not really how it went last week. So yes, it did feel like they were back on the same page, but that also felt very deliberate. Something is happening here. Somebody better keep an eye on it. When we did get to JD McDonagh versus Sheamus, given that poor Sheamus did get dicked over in that Battle Royal last week, basically because of the Judgment Day, look, I've already given my down, but of course Finn Balor was getting involved in this, so it's a one on the dick board. I'm not going to give it a new down, but it's an all-encompassing down. I'll just repeat my phrase, do something else. Aside of that though, I thought this was absolutely brilliant. Like, Sheamus remains an underrated gem. It's a shame he had to return magically from nowhere for that Battle Royal, but he was just kicking JD McDonagh's ass, but JD McDonagh was coming back and whooping his ass. This was a terrific fight. It wasn't even a wrestling match, but both dudes, my gosh, they shone like the sun. There's also this great part as well by Finn Balor, which proves distractions can work when Sheamus had the match won after a crucifix bomb, and the way that Finn Balor put JD McDonagh's foot on the rope to cause the 1-2, he was kind of flipping and flopping, and he got mega heat for that. It really was very well executed. Sheamus, of course, was able to get back into it and was going to do something off the top when Finn just smacked him with the shillelagh. And do you know how this ended? With JD McDonagh hitting Sheamus with a Spanish fly. Sheamus is a big old guy. They did this from the top rope. I was really pleased that was the finish, because like the Blue Thunder Bomb, if you do something like that, it should get the 1-2-3. And of course, Sheamus is protected because he got smacked on the head with his own weapon, which just means it's more insulting. Now, it also meant that we kind of justified the fact that JD and Finn are going to get a tag team title shot next week. Though I am going to give it down because there's no story to that. You just walk up to people, I'd like a title shot, please. But yeah, Sheamus and JD gets it up. If you want to tell me this is the best match on the show, I wouldn't argue with you. It was excellent, and now we've absolutely got to follow it up. And Pierce then found Maxine Dupree and said, oh, hello, Maxine. Would you like another Intercontinental title shot? Essentially, Maxine said no. I was like, what? Because she then said, she followed it up with, no, I need to speak to somebody because I need my training to get better because I'm not where I need to be yet in order to defeat Becky Lynch. I would presume this is how AJ Lee comes back into the fold. Maxine will not become the IC champion, but you know who will? A brand new trainer, Ashley. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss then proved my point as well because they were being interviewed, and they actually said, if you want a title shot, you only have to ask for it, or in short, Geese title shot. I want to be that guy. That should not be the way that wrestling works. Otherwise, I'll do it. All right? I challenge you for a tag team title shot, and now, according to your own words, you have to say yes. And I will team with Repo Man. They also told us they're only 2 defenses away from breaking the record. That's a bit like, yeah, let's not say that. Because just go to show that WWE hasn't booked these women's tag team titles very well in the 5 or 6 years they have been around. And we really need to change that because, as you're about to learn again, every single time they do get featured, well, everybody involved just kicks ass. These are good championships, man. They just need to be featured consistently on TV. Oscar and Kari walked in as well and basically said, we heard what you were just talking about, so we would like a title shot and we are going to do that soon. How good is that match going to be? My predictomometer says, pretty very good. This is when AJ Lee or Dragon Stars are perfectly happy to take on JD and Finn, and we've already talked about that. I just think we need to get the Raw Tag Team titles especially back to how they were at WrestleMania 39. And that was a bit different because we only had one set of titles then. But it is kind of similar on SmackDown as well. People just walk around having matches. Look at the people that are involved on both brands. You can do more. You just got to stick some story in there. Otherwise, our main event was indeed Flair and Bliss, or Fab, taking on Lyra and Bayley, or Lab. So it was Fab versus Lab. I don't know why you watch this show either. This Lyra Valkyria is just fantastic too, and she just doesn't panic. At one point, she did hit her finish, I think it was her finish, on Alexa Bliss, and her flipping hair got caught in Alexa Bliss's ring gear. Now, of course, the pin was broken up, but she didn't panic. She was cool as a cucumber, and she went and sorted this out. Genuinely, as a man that wrestles, sometimes when things go wrong, I freeze like a dinosaur, not Lyra, because she believes in her abilities. Charlotte Flair got the hot tag eventually, and she was running wild. She did this crazy crossbody, as she always does. And after Bayley got thumped a little bit, she became crazy Bayley. She demanded the hot tag. And of course, she ran wild too. The 1-2-ooh train then started here as well as everybody was hitting their finishing moves. When Charlotte Flair locked in the figure 8, this is when Lyra zoomed in, and she stopped Bayley from tapping out. Now, some people go, oh, that's so stupid, because Bayley could still say, I quit with her words. Here's the secret sauce. When it comes to wrestling, it is stupid, but its stupidity is why it's amazing. I love stuff like this. Like, why would that count not as being a tap out just because somebody is forcing me from tapping out? But I never want that to go away, much like how Dominic Mysterio stayed in the Battle Royal last week. Oh, nobody stored me, so I'm going to keep competing. It was also awesome because Alexa Bliss was having none of this and she crushed them both to death with the Twisted Bliss. When Charlotte Flair and Alexa looked at each other and kind of did a taunt pat with their hands to charge up their MP. They then triggered their special move. They both hit natural selections, which actually looked really cool because they did it in time. They got the 1, 2, 3, and I have not done this match justice. It was super duper good. I'm absolutely giving it an up. Once again, repeat my catchphrase, keep booking the women's tag team titles. Of course, the Kabuki Warriors came out and murdered everybody after this, and they did tell us they were going to do that, and they hit Charlotte Flair with the assisted insane elbow. But when Bayley got in the ring to protect Lyra, Oscar and Kairi Sane backed off, I would presume because that was a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the damage control days. And I love it when wrestling does this. It's all a part of the historical lore. So yeah, I just enjoyed all of this and I am going to give it an up, and I cannot wait for that Kabuki Warriors match. But do not throw the Charlotte Alexa Bliss team away either, or Bayley and Lyra. Let's find a way to involve all of them. So yeah, up. Very good end to Raw. Now, I will say he didn't massively do a great job in getting me super pumped for Saturday night's main event, given it was the go-home show, but I am going to give it an up. Like, it's not something you desperately do need to see, but actually for the 2.5 hours or whatever it was on, I had a pretty good time. That's why I watch wrestling, to enjoy myself. I don't want to be a sad panda. Now, of course, you are going to have different opinions from me, so please do drop them in the comments below before you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Otherwise, you can click the video on the screen to get ups and downs from all kinds of shows. We have a playlist. It's just me reviewing and going crazy. I understand it may not be to your taste, but either way, I love you, and one day I will give you a hug. See you soon.